To be unmuted is to be honest, authentic, and unapologetic with your words.
Being unmuted is also being vulnerable and sharing a part of your identity.
Being comfortable and confident enough in yourself to say what's important to you.
Regardless of how messy and confusing and raw that truth may be, it's deserving of being heard and recognized.
Unmuted is a safe space where we can share our struggles with our identities and also embrace all the things that make us unique.
Unmuted means standing firmly in your beliefs and allowing your voice to ring and be heard.
Speaking your mind and not holding anything back.
Unmuting means turning on our microphones and cranking up the volume to make sure that we are heard all over, because the time has long since passed where we sit around and wait for change to come find us.
Welcome everyone to this episode of Girls Right Now Live Unmuted. I'm Gabrielle, a Girls Right Now mentee, and to me, unmuted means being unrestrained emotionally and politically, which is letting yourself be real and vulnerable, and it's also empowering yourself to speak your mind.
And I'm Yasmin, a fellow mentee. To me, unmuted, despite not being in the Scrabble dictionary, means finding unity and fighting the monotony of every day for the sake of creativity. Gabrielle and I will be your EMCs for a night of turning up the volume on a boundary-pushing performance that will deepen your understanding of the world and yourself.
For more than 23 years, Girls Right Now has been a leader in arts education, a nationally award-winning nonprofit, and the first writing and mentoring organization for girls and gender-expansive teens.
At our Spring Performance Series, we share multimedia, multi-genre work and honor women authors and media makers who inspire us and help us amplify the voices of the next generation of writers and activists. Tonight, we're thrilled to have Dr. Joy Harden Bradford, licensed psychologist and founder and host of the wildly popular mental health podcast, Therapy for Black Girls, joining us as our Agent of Change honoree.
While we'd love to be performing together in the same room tonight, Girls Right Now has seen the challenges presented by the pandemic as an opportunity to maintain a space for creativity through Zoom, to enrich our curriculum with a focus on wellness and racial justice, and to expand our audience globally to reach more than 75,000 people. We couldn't have done any of it without our generous Agent of Change partners, our Girls Right Now Circle, our dedicated board of directors, our phenomenal staff, and all of you, our community and supporters. A transition to a virtual world has been difficult for everyone, but Girls Right Now has been a source of such joy and creativity in my life, and I'm so glad to be able to partake in a community of writers who share a passion and bond that is stronger than any screen.
Being a first-year mentee during the pandemic created a new outlet for creativity during a challenging time. Having an incredible mentor and supportive staff made the transition seamless. And all of the performers you'll see tonight have worked so hard with their mentors, meeting virtually every week, to put together a truly incredible performance.
Their stories span genres and mediums from personal essay to sketch comedy to fictional podcasting, and they dive into topics like friendship, feminism, and resilience. If you're joining us on YouTube tonight, we highly encourage you to get loud and share your cheers in the chat during the show.
Okay, let's get to it. Presenting Girls Right Now live, unmuted.
Today, I have the pleasure of introducing my mentee, Kaylee. When Kaylee first showed me the poem you're about to hear today, Cerulean Summer, I was struck by the vivid, precise images and authentic emotion conveyed in this piece. Even more impressive, she wrote the whole thing as a pantoum, a strict Malaysian repeating form that personally I have found difficult to write in. So needless to say, I was blown away. You are in for a treat.
Hi, my name is Kaylee Ortiz, and today I will be reading a small excerpt from my pantoum poem, Cerulean Summer. This poem is very close to home, and it's just me reminiscing on the old times with a very old friend that I've lost for a while now. And so I hope you enjoy. Thank you so much. Cerulean Summer. Cloudless skies of cerulean sheened over our fits of laughter. Our smiling star beamed brightly in the empty sky, giving us a hello. Child laughter and hot metal that smelled of burnt plastic scalding our sensitive skin. Our Garden of Eden, my life-size snow globe holding the memories of when we were young. Our smiling star beamed brightly in the empty sky, giving us a hello. In our Garden of Eden, the prickly grass smelled of burnt butter popcorn. The giant stones were used as thrones. Our Garden of Eden, my life-size snow globe, holds the memories of when we were young. Our backs left rosy pink, my toes feeling rough against the flaring summer concrete. In our Garden of Eden, the prickly grass smelt of butter popcorn. The giant stones were used as thrones. I miss the days when we screamed to our heart's content and no one thought we were crazy. Our backs left rosy pink, my toes feeling rough against the flaring summer concrete. Because being a kid gave you the privilege to be so-called crazy. I miss the days when we screamed to our heart's content and no one thought we were crazy, where hot sweat dripped down my back, my baby hairs sticking up on my neck, because being a kid gave you the privilege to be so-called crazy. I was so out of breath, my heart felt as if it was about to explode outside its chest, where hot sweat dripped down my back, baby hairs sticking up on my neck. I felt the blood rush through my veins, a fire spreading across my cheeks. I was so out of breath, my heart felt as if it was about to explode outside its chest. I felt more alive than I have in the past 4 years combined. I felt the blood rush through my veins, a fire spreading across my cheeks. No worries about boys or girls, or do I like boys and girls? I felt more alive than I have in the past 4 years combined. No thoughts of being a good student or daughter, but how much longer do I have left with you? Thank you.
My name is Michaela McKenzie. I'm a journalist and a first-year mentor with Girls Right Now, and it is my express pleasure to be introducing my mentee, Amma Anwar. Amma is just about to graduate high school, where she served as the captain of her poetry team and as a staff writer on the school paper. And she will be attending her dream school, Columbia University, this fall to study biomedical engineering. I've learned so much in my time working with Amma, who's always ready with a good book recommendation or an introspective question, and I really can't wait to see what she does next.
Throughout the weeks and during our sessions, I and my mentor Michaela would often talk about how our lives had been impacted by the pandemic. And through these conversations, we realized the connections that we had to our homes. And so our pair piece focuses on what home means to us. And we hope you enjoy our performance.
Living in a New York apartment is a lesson in acoustics. You'd be amazed to learn how many sounds can easily sail 300 feet into the air and into my 24th floor window. This steel and glass jewel box is the place I dreamed of calling home. It felt distinctly New York when I picked up the keys, cold and electric. Home gave me 2 rooms with a dishwasher and central air.
The crowded 8 a.m. bus rides, noisy school lounges, transferring of train lines, the normal day ceased. Home became a magical place that lifted years off my mind. With nowhere to rush off, my baby brother greets me, drawling good morning with a large grin. I can breathe and simply enjoy the moment, whether that moment is my siblings bickering or the sizzling noises from the kitchen. While the days in quarantine might have been the same, each one was filled with life. Home gave me years' worth of memories and wisdom.
Growing up, home was a blurry idea. Shuttling between divorced parents meant I had 2 toothbrushes but no roots. So when I moved into my very first apartment, I wanted to make home a concrete thing in sharp focus. I hung pictures on every inch of the walls, blue gobs of sticky tack pressed into the paint like gum. Home gave me a place to make memories of my own. Now home is a place where I can put nails in my walls, a place where I am the center of gravity I've spent my life craving. Home gives me a place to build.
In a world that questioned my identity, home was my safe place. At school, there was no one quite like me. I would receive questions about my henna, glare stares, and occasionally fear from my classmates. I, along with my culture and religion, didn't feel welcome. I'd cry about the jokes kids made and feel angry for not fitting in. Home gave me a place where I felt accepted, a place of compassion and understanding, and a place where I had family who supported me, a girl with broken English and big dreams. For the next 4 years, I hope home gives me a community that will welcome me with open arms.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Katie and my mentee is Diana. This is our first year together at Girls Right Now, and it has definitely been interesting and a little difficult to do this journey completely remotely, but we have still managed to form an incredible bond that I will cherish forever. And Diana has managed to create some pieces that are truly amazing, and especially this piece is raw, and it's just a reminder that we need to continue to listen to younger people and take care of each other. So here she is. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Diana Sanchez, and while writing America and Its Glory, I guess I can tell you that it was a last-minute document that I was writing. I kind of woke up in the middle of the night and decided I wanted to write this of America and how it's affected my family, how it affected others, especially hearing from my friends who've gone through so many worse things. And the piece itself may come out kind of strong for some people, so I don't want anyone to panic or anything. It's just my thoughts on it and my opinions. And what you might have others, I appreciate all of them, and thank you very much. America and its glory could never be described because no word or sentence can show how time after time America has proven to fuck up more and more. It gives more reason to the others watching us to push us aside and be seen as laughingstocks. As headlines of America dictate the media all over the world, showcasing the failures of our great and open nation, it shows me how the lies of our past and hardships of others have come back to haunt us. Karma has finally arrived after all these years. Could it get any worse? So many ask, especially now in 2021, nearing a whole year of failure to protect its citizens, its weakest and its strongest. What's the difference between now and back then? When we all lived with our heads buried in the sand. When we all turned a blind eye to the horrors happening in our capital. Who could have imagined from peaceful protests to storming the Capitol? See how fast everything crashed around us? Bodies dropped and continue to drop due to empathy. And I don't just mean from the government. But look at everyone who chooses to be childish and careless because they don't have a single ounce of consideration inside them to wear a fucking mask or to stand in front of a person of color and say, I will protect you. I will raise my fist and my voice for you, even if it's not our burden to carry. This all could have been easier if you did your part as a human being, because for a country built on justice and independence for everyone, there sure lacks any humanity in life. This country was built on the backs of immigrants and slaves, on the blood, sweat, and tears of our third-class citizens. Descendants of these people have stayed by choice or lack of other options in this country, even though it has failed them time after time. If survival as a country was threatened, America would throw us all to the wolves. How could anyone describe America in its glory?
My name is Kaylee Rizzo, and I'm so excited to introduce Faria Kabir. In our meetings, Faria and I often talk about what writing means to us. Although we both love a good story, what we gravitate towards is writing that expresses something that we can all relate to. And I think this speaks to Faria's impressive ability to always consider other people, even what's going on beneath the surface with them. But there is so much more to her than that, and this poem is an excellent example. No matter our age, it's hard to have feelings sometimes. But with honest writing like Faria's, those parts of us become a portal for genuine connection. I'm so pleased to hand it over to Faria, who will read her piece, My Unnamed Feelings.
Hi guys, I'm Faria and I will be reading my poem, which is named My Unnamed Feelings. And I really hope that all of you will enjoy my poem. My Unnamed Feelings. I have a lot of friends to talk to me, but just a few to listen to me. I have emotions, but not always the power to express them. Sometimes I feel like I'm not caged, but restricted. Not alone, but sometimes still lonely. Generally, I like to be with people, but sometimes just prefer to stay alone. Generally, I talk a lot, but sometimes just feel like getting rid of all the noises and staying a little quiet. Generally, I feel like others can't understand me every time, but sometimes it just feels like even I can't understand me every time. Generally, I'm expressive, but sometimes I sit in unknown silence with some unnamed feelings. Thank you so much for paying attention.
Hi everybody. Thanks so much for being here at Girls Right Now's reading tonight. I'm very excited to introduce you to my mentee. Her name is Daewoo Minza, but she prefers to go by Gloria. My name is Nicole Marie Gervasio, and we've spent the year learning a lot about everything we have in common. It includes coming from immigrant families. Hers is from Togo, mine is from Italy. We also have very, very dark senses of humor and believe in reclaiming stories that have been told the wrong way 1,000 times before, like fairy tales. And we also have what my therapist would call a problem with authority. That means that we write against the grain in many different ways. So without further ado, here's Gloria to share her new piece with you.
My piece started out as one that would be centered around a girl ranting about how slow the delivery hours of Hogwarts were. Then it changed into a rant about how unfair it was for fictional characters to go on wild and crazy adventures while humans were stuck in offices and classrooms all day. Then it changed into a rant about, you get the pattern. The final piece as a whole is a collection of thoughts that I myself have from time to time about reality as we know it. I was in the therapist's office again today. The new one claims her name is Dr. Jiko. You'll never believe what she said to me. The end of our conversation bothered me so much that it just kept replaying over and over in my head. Like all the unsuccessful souls before her, Dr. Jiko couldn't cure me of my identity crisis. Okay, but first, everyone needs to understand that to me, A muggle is not someone who cannot use magic, but someone who doesn't care for the possibility that there is something more than what we are taught to believe in growing up. To me, it's that sense of apathy, that complete lack of interest in anything other than the uniformity of everyday life, that has me trying to revive Lord Voldemort. Okay, well, maybe not revive him, even that's a little too extreme for me, but in all honesty, while I do not condone Voldemort's bloodlust and arrogance, he knew what he wanted, how far he would need to go, and how many sacrifices he would need to make. His methods were immoral, but just a drop of that ambition, just a drop, would be better than the dead fisheye look I see in people around me. They're drab to the point where it should be considered a sin. With all these thoughts churning in my mind, I arrived at Dr. Jico's office, hoping beyond hope that this cognitively superior being would be able to put the jumble of emotions I felt into something more than the incoherent, fragmented phrases that escape me whenever I tried to explain my thoughts to others. Boy, was I wrong. Her first words disintegrated my hopes. The woman introduced herself like so. "Hello, Poppy. Today, I am Dr. Jico." So much for cognitive superiority. She stumbled over a simple introduction with a clumsiness that would have made any English teacher blush, as if she didn't know her name from one day to the next. I half expected her to start speaking in riddles, but she seemed to have caught on to her mistake and cleared her throat before starting our session. She struck me as suspicious. I didn't know what disturbed me more, her questionable introduction, or the fact that she pretended it didn't happen. When she realized I wasn't going to respond, she gave me the permission to keep quiet since therapy was a new experience for me. New. The questionable therapist, Jico, continued with, "Your mother tells me that you are currently going through an identity crisis. Does that sound right?" I didn't feel this therapist, can someone confirm that fact for me, was going to understand me at all.
Hi, I'm Tony Brannigan, and I'm so excited to introduce my mentee, Lily Sabella. Lily's a graduating senior and will be attending SUNY New Paltz in the fall. I'm going to miss her so much, but I feel really lucky that we got to write together for the past 2 years. The poem that she's sharing today is my favorite piece that we've worked on together, and I'm so proud that she wrote this love letter to our borough queens.
Hi, my name is Lily Sabella, and this is my poem, Queens Forever. I saw glimmers of God in the streetlight lamps that shine through the cracks of my fingers, as I covered my eyes from the New York City night, exhausted in yet another $8 Uber ride from Roosevelt to home. The fast lights dragged my heart to exit 33, as I bloomed beneath my forever, my queens. I couldn't write fast enough to fill the train rides, my legs numbed on the E, where I memorized poems to recite in French class. My eyes closed on the 7, always on the way to work and back. Hunter's Point and sweeping sunsets printed on the inside of my eyelids. As I soared above food trucks and groups of teenagers, I memorized boots and heels and the toes of strangers. Each passenger connected through a chain of thighs touching and arms rubbing, swaying to the beat of the closing doors and endless delays. There were buses and buses because my friends live deep, buses because I do too, because this place is so big and broad you can sink in it. The subway can't reach it all. Buses I begged for free rides on and waited in the rain for, some passengers obeying the unspoken rule of law in the land of blue chairs and yellow wires, some not. And as I looked in my seat, farthest in the back, last one on the left, around at the mothers wearing Paw Patrol backpacks, and their children so small, their feet not yet touching the ground, all I could think was that everyone seemed so tired, as we rode together without the luxury of cars to take us on our own, all the days spent here, together, blurring into something that mattered. I've run throughout Queens searching for my name, from Jamaica to Jackson Heights, Astoria to Corona, until the borough became a part of me, where I spent hours walking under the L, feeling everyone was so alive, eating outside of food trucks and blasting music in languages I couldn't understand, buying iced tea from the bodega men and petting deli cats. My whole life spent here, a part of me with pride. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Cynthia. I'm based in Brooklyn. I'm a student organizer, writer, actor, whatever.
And I'm Allison. I'm a literary agent, also based in Brooklyn and originally from Colorado.
So today our piece, which is called Internalized Misogyny, is based on the New York Times documentary on Britney Spears. It came out right when we were supposed to submit our Girls Right Now pieces, and I was really inspired by the storytelling methods that were used, and I wanted to talk about how internalized misogyny manifests in both macroscopic and microscopic ways.
We decided to do our piece in the form of a conversation so that we could talk back and forth about the ways we experienced internalized misogyny, me growing up in the 90s and Cynthia in the early 2000s. So here you go.
This piece of fabric is my pride and joy. A tag on the back of the neckline displays a generic logo. The shirt's a little oversized, but it's the perfect lazy day throw on. On it, a large image is stretched across from the middle. It's Britney Spears! Ever since I was a young girl, I had moved my feet with every beat of her songs. The nasality of her timbre became a normality when processing sound in my head. Sadly, she truly wasn't appreciated enough in the earlier years of her career. Allison, could you describe what O100's critics thought of her?
When I was in middle school, honestly, it was very cool to hate Britney Spears. We were, I think, all wrapped up in the media narrative, which was also our parents' narrative, that she was inappropriate. Too sexy, scandalous, self-objectifying, and crazy. She set a bad example for girls and women, or so we were told. We were supposed to value ourselves for our brains, not our bodies. I wonder how all that thinking strikes you now, growing up in a very different era.
From an etic perspective, it's quite apparent that this notion that Miss Spears is detrimentally sexualizing herself is an explicit example of internalized misogyny. Do you have any experiences in which you felt intimidated by the environment you were in based on your ascribed characteristics?
Yes, definitely. When I think back to middle school, I always wanted to wear makeup and short skirts in order to be seen as pretty and cool, and was conscious and constantly nervous that I wasn't playing the part quite right. At the same time, my friends and I, who were not especially cool, looked down on the popular girls who we thought dressed too provocatively. I'm sure we were, in part, just secretly jealous. Do you find yourself thinking about how you dress or present in similarly complicated knots, Cynthia?
I feel that the ways I perpetuate internalized misogyny are rooted in my insecurities, for sure. To combat internalized misogyny, having an open dialogue that is inclusive and invites all self-identifying women could also be a step towards progress. Obviously, we should argue that the only method to alleviate this issue is to completely dismantle all oppressive forms of social stratification. But in the meantime, we can prioritize a method of discussion to participate in inclusive feminism. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hey everyone, my name is Adrienne Horton and I'm a mentor with Girls Right Now. My mentee is Mariella Parmenter, and this year we've really used our pair sessions as kind of therapeutic writing to try and process everything that's happening and how we're feeling about it. And through that, I've learned that Ella is an incredible poet. She's always trying to communicate her emotions with such thoughtfulness, such nuance, while still experimenting with different words and different forms, different rhythms. It's been really amazing and beautiful to watch her build her confidence in putting things on the page and share it with others, and I'm really excited for you all to see her work.
Hi, my name is Mariella Parmenter. I'm a junior in high school, and I wrote my first draft for this poem with my mentor, Adrienne. And we do these writing exercises where we take about 15 minutes to write about anything, poetry, prose, and random entry, or Adrienne lets me choose one of the many prompts that she has to share. This poem that I'm going to read is called Look Again. Real treasures never flaunt, they are humble and considerate. Although they may haunt, the things they do are deliberate. Should I be searching, or will it fall in my lap? Dangerous people are lurking when you don't have a map. Inherent and cruel may these places be, constantly brewing ways to keep you wee. Wishing to learn the path to be free, alone or with someone should I just plea. From the outside I see how I am blind, with an internal storm I stay resigned.
Hi,
My name is Candace Kennard, and I'm so excited to introduce the work of my mentee, Lorena Maca Garcia. This is the third and final year of her participation in this program. She is a senior in high school, will be graduating at the end of this year, and be the first person in her family to attend college. Lorena, I am so proud of you and of the brave ways that you have made art even in the midst of an ongoing set of challenges and trials.
Hi, my name is Lorena, and my piece is titled Parte de mí. This piece is a personal reflection that is based on recent moments in order to learn more about my heritage. Throughout this time in quarantine, I've been connecting with other parts of my family who live in Mexico, and learning so much more about my own Mexican heritage. It made me realize how I live in a completely different life here than they do there. Unlike my parents and grandparents, I grew up in New York City and have never visited Mexico. So before now, I mainly connected with my family and my heritage through forms of media. I used to think telenovelas would show what life was like in Guerrero. However, in the past couple of years, I started recognizing the clear colorism and lack of representation of their small rural town in Mexican media. In all of the telenovelas I watched with my family, the characters were light-skinned, wealthy people who live in larger towns and cities. Looking through pictures of my grandparents and listening to their memories painted a different picture than what was portrayed on TV. Unlike in the media, there are many people in rural parts of Mexico who aren't living in large houses. Some are even living in one-room houses built by hand, others work mostly in agriculture and farming and have to make do outside of city life. I also noticed that everyone assumes Spanish is the main language when my own grandfather used to speak in the dialect tongue of Guerrero, Zapoteco. In fact, my grandpa had to learn Spanish in schools, although he spoke his dialect at home. This made me feel a connection, even though it's different, because I learned English in school, though I mostly still speak Spanish at home. I want to educate myself about my heritage because it's a way to connect to the rest of my family I've never thought about. I used to not even know which part of Mexico I was from until I asked my mom. In the end, my heritage is taught to me in small ways, through my food, my grandma's frijoles y tortillas, my mom's stories about bull riding, through my grandpa's memories. I'm definitely still learning, and I don't think I'll ever stop learning about my culture and where my parents and grandparents came from. That's still a part of me. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your work. It's an honor to see what our mentees have come up with this year.
Yeah, I completely agree. I loved how honest and real everyone was about how they felt in their experiences, which is rare and difficult, but came out so, so beautifully. And there's more on the way, but now please give a warm digital welcome to tonight's agent of change, Dr. Joy Harden Bradford. Dr. Joy Harden Bradford is a licensed psychologist, speaker, and the host of the widely popular mental health podcast, Therapy for Black Girls. Her work focuses on making mental health topics more relevant and accessible for Black women, and she specializes in creating spaces for Black women to have fuller and healthier relationships with themselves and with others. She's been featured in the Oprah Magazine, Bustle, Huffington Post, Black Enterprise, Women's Health, BuzzFeed, Teen Vogue, and Essence.
In line with our theme, we just have one question. How do you unmute yourself in your work and your life?
When I was younger, I often heard older people in my family say that little girls should be seen and not heard. It always struck me as such a ridiculous statement. Why did me being a girl mean I needed to be quiet? Looking back, I can see how my resentment for that statement spurred me not only to use my voice, but to sometimes be the loudest one in the room. My work now as a podcaster requires me to be unmuted to give voice to the issues that impact the mental health and wellness of Black women and girls. I enjoy the conversations I get to have and the connections to other sisters that I've been able to develop, all because I decided to use my voice. I unmute myself by centering all of the people that can be helped by me sharing my thoughts. I unmute myself by following any curiosities and then sharing those things with the world. I unmute myself by allowing myself to feel the depths of my sadness, but also the fullness of my soul-stirring belly laughs. I unmute myself by showing up even when I'm afraid. I unmute myself by saying ouch when something hurts me. I unmute myself by saying, you did that, when I'm proud of myself. And I unmute myself in part because I also want you to choose to unmute yourself as well. One of our voices alone may be a tiny whisper, but all of our voices collectively is a roar that cannot be ignored.
Dr. Joy said it. It is time for girls all over the world to be heard. We draw power from our words, our dreams, and our passions, both individually and collectively.
Girls Right Now has given me the opportunity to find a community that's willing to share my passions and hear what I have to say.
Girls Right Now has also encouraged me to unmute myself by writing and spreading awareness about different taboo topics related to mental health. If you're inspired by what you've seen tonight so far, enrollment for our next program year is officially open. Check out girlsrightnow.org/enroll to apply or register to attend an open house for more information about being a mentee or a mentor. Or you can support our programming at girlsrightnow.org/give.
Now we've got lots more incredible work for you tonight, but first, make sure to join us in our hat party. Find whatever creative, crazy, weird, funky hat you have, and make sure to chat about it in the YouTube comments.
Hi everyone, my name is Jordan Davidson. I'm a health journalist, and this year I had the pleasure of working with Julissa Ozuna, who is a sophomore. We spent a lot of this year working on poetry, which I like to think was a challenge for both of us, a challenge for me because I haven't really written any poetry since I was 16, and a challenge for her because we spent a lot of this year working on technical forms. Julissa is an extremely talented and passionate young woman, and I've loved working with her and learning about her mental health advocacy and all of the passion that she has for bringing self-care to other teens like herself. It's been really great working together this year, and I'm excited for you to hear her poetry today.
Hello everyone, my name is Julissa Ozuna, and I'm a first-year Girls Right Now mentee. For today's piece, I will be reading a poem inspired by an artist named Tupac called The Rose That Grew from Concrete. This poem is meant to share how we shouldn't limit ourselves and our capabilities. I hope you all enjoy. Did you hear about the rose that grew from concrete? The one that overcame all of nature's restrictions? The same rose everyone admires, but deep inside everyone wants to see fail. The one that was already judged but without saying a word. The one that was born into a world with low expectations for it. Who cares if this rose becomes another statistic? What makes this rose so special? This rose is trying to exceed all of those expectations, with a world waiting for it to fall back into those cracks. But it won't fall back into the rough and ugly place it grew out of. It'll continue rising because it is not done growing. The rose that grew from concrete, the one that was planted in a rugged area, pushed and tossed and thrown through the gusts of the wind, here grew one of nature's beauties. Overcoming all odds, this rose began to flourish. Its bright red petals shine against the dull gray earth, forcing citizens from far and wide to stop and stare. Why isn't this the most charming rose out there? I hope you all enjoyed.
Hi everyone, my name is Sejma and I'm a mentor at Girls Right Now. My mentee, Victoria Gao, and I are super excited to introduce you to the collab piece we've been working on for the past semester. I'm sad to know that this is Victoria's last year at Girls Right Now as she's graduating high school this year and attending MIT in the fall. It's quite bittersweet to announce that this is her last Girls Right Now presentation, but I cannot wait to see what the future has in store for her.
Thank you, Sioma, for introducing me. I'm Victoria, and today I'll be presenting Forging Melody, a piece that I worked on with my mentor. The written component is told from the perspective of Minnie, who meets another woman named Loretta, and an art exhibit for the famous fictional and deceased artist Will Finch in 1892. The podcast host interviews a former Met Art curator who discovers a series of letters that leaves listeners wondering about the authenticity of artworks in the late 19th century and even today, in 2021. Here's the trailer to the Forging Melody podcast. This is the Lost Archives podcast, and I'm your host, Aileen Waters. On today's episode of Lost Archives, we're tackling the world of fine art. We have a super special guest today who has uncovered something fascinating within that intriguing world. Amanda Peters is a former curator at the Metropolitan Art Museum. 5 years ago, she came across a letter that has come to consume her life, a letter that could potentially change the trajectory of art history as we know it.
Essentially, this woman, Loretta, had come across a painting at the British Museum by the famous 19th century artist Will Finch, and she was convinced that the copy of his last known painting, Melody, the museum was showcasing, was fake.
Wow, that's a bold claim.
Yes, it absolutely is, because, the British Museum has had the same copy of Melody in their possession for the past century, so there's a chance that what they have now is fake. And if that one painting is fake, how do we know other works of art in any given museum isn't a near replica?
May 1st, 1892. Ever since my sister and Will Finch passed away, I've been visiting the British Museum every day to view Finch's paintings. Unfortunately, the demand for Finch's masterpieces skyrocketed right after his death. The museum's directors plan to sell his paintings for a huge profit at an auction in 5 days. May 4th, 1892. When I visited the Finch exhibition at the British Museum today, I noticed that its copy of Melody was missing the thin yellow ferns embroidered on my sister's dress, which was depicted in the original painting. May 6th, 1892. As curators prepared for the auction of Finch's paintings, I noticed a woman leave the museum through the side entrance. I had seen her often at the Finch exhibition, sketching his paintings and asking me questions about little details in his works.
Hi, my name is Stevie, and I'm really excited to introduce my mentee, Michelle. I'm always blown away by how beautiful and vulnerable her work is, but besides that, I'm just always so excited when I get to talk with her, whether it's about her experiences in high school or friendships, or, giving her advice for college and all these sorts of things. It's really a joy when we get to just talk about life, and I'm really excited to have her share her work with you. So Michelle, take it away.
Hi, I'm Michelle, and I wrote this personal essay about a conversation that I had with my art history professor when I was studying abroad in Italy a few summers ago. It taught me about friendship and the unexpected nature of meeting new people. I also experienced just how quickly strangers can enter our lives and create memorable bonds with us, that they can just as easily become strangers again. So this piece is called A Wise Woman Once Told Me. A wise woman once told me, we have yet to meet all the people that will love us in this life. It happened one summer evening that I spent in Florence when I was walking down the narrow cobblestone streets with my professor after dinner. As we were crossing the Ponte Vecchio, we stopped to admire the Arno River. It was glistening with a cryptic sunset purple, the kind of purple that makes you want to spill everything that is going on in your mind, even if it is to a person you just met. Maybe it was the universal romanticism of Florence, or even the truth-inducing purple of the river, but those words have touched me in a way that no others have until then, leaving a beautiful melancholy inside of me. It's only human tendency to worry about the future, if we'll ever find true love, or better friends, or if we'll make the indelible memories we see glamorized by movies. After that trip, the more I dwelled on those words, the more I realized how much truth they held. I think back to my middle school days when I thought my friend group was as good as it gets, not realizing how much more fulfilling my life would become in only a few years' time. Meeting one of my current best friends in the most unexpected way, her appearance into my life like a tiny droplet from the universe. It started so simply, as a kind gesture to join me for a last-minute poetry reading. That one event led to more adventures together in the city, along with late-night talks on her porch, the sleepovers making pancakes in the middle of the night, and all our other future plans of traveling and living together. Who would have known that a poetry reading on a random Wednesday night would have bonded two strangers for life? I've learned to embrace the randomness of the world, for if there's one thing that my professor's words have taught me, is that you can't plan your life out. And just how two strangers bonded over a fruitful conversation in Florence, another two bonded at a poetry reading in New York, the difference being that one pair never saw each other again, while the other remained in each other's lives. People come and go, but one thing is for certain. They will always have something to teach you. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Maria, and my mentee, Maisha Montaki, is going to read from her poem, Silent Neighborhoods Across New York.
Hello everyone, I'm Maisha, and I'll be reciting my poem now. During summer days, along with bearing the heat, I'd hear the kids from my room every summer day. I like my neighborhood the way it is. I might not see the attachment to my neighborhood, but all the bits and pieces I know of my neighborhood are just what makes living here comforting. I wish my neighborhood was more of a community where neighbors know each other well, they celebrate together, they cope together. The silence wouldn't be so encompassing. What I wish for the most is a big family neighborhood.
Thank you, Maisha.
Hi, my name is Erica Drennan, and I am honored to introduce my mentee, Alana Drake. I've had the pleasure of getting to write with Alana every week for the past 3 years. She brings boundless energy, enthusiasm, and passion to everything she does, and she has taught me so much more about writing and life than I could ever hope to teach her. I can't believe she's about to graduate and go to college, but I'm hoping that we will continue writing together on Google Hangouts for years to come. I'm so excited for you to hear her powerful words tonight.
After reading Amanda Gorman's inaugural poem, I thought about the issues that were brought to light over the summer and over the past 4 years during the Trump administration. I wrote this piece to explore the values that we emphasize in America and the distance between those values and our actions. Here's my poem, Cracks in the Country. On July 4th, the America we live in shook beneath our feet. The flags we waved, the fireworks we watched, and the feeling of pure joy we used to know were gone, because we recognized that not everyone knows the land of the free and the home of the brave. Our streets that once held children's laughs turned to fire and pepper spray, as the protests for change evolved and our country divided once more. Our country once opened its borders to people of all origins, nationalities, and races, yet we built a wall against Mexico, shielding ourselves from our past values. Our country once had cities that welcomed diversity, cities that rang with the stories of different cultures and encouraged us to learn from each other. Our country once fought for each person, regardless of gender, religion, or where they came from. The words equality and freedom used to echo. But now we are at a crossroads because we do not remember who we are. The principles we pride ourselves on sink like glaciers melting into the ocean. The words we are built on are just words that disappear as they float into the air. The words I have learned since I was 13, when Donald Trump bragged that he could assault women with impunity, pierced me like icicles on a cold winter day. And the culture of sexual harassment lingers as we hear the survivors speak and share their testimonies, which we discount because one allegation can ruin a man's career. How do we speak up without being afraid of retaliation? We can only hope that our hearts will beat together and our voices will move in song, that our people will build bridges from inland to the coast, and that we will learn to embrace the way each person's heart beats as we search for common ground in today's America.
Hi, my name is Laura Geringer Bass. This is my 5th year as a mentor for Girls Right Now, and my 2nd working with the multi-talented Tori Phelps, who will read from her powerful piece, Growing Up.
I started growing up because I wanted to write something from a teen point of view that addresses the reader directly, something honest about how hard life can be, sometimes. This is an excerpt from the first chapter of what I hope will become a novel. Growing up, I'm in this situation again. I lied. My not-real mom was furious. She went crazy and said things she never meant to say. Or maybe she did. Living with my not-real mom is living hell. Honestly, the lie I told wasn't a big one. She didn't have to say the things she said. I don't know why I lie. My not-real mom thinks it's my past. Who knows? Maybe that's it. Maybe it isn't. My name is Alani Johnson. I'm 15 years old and I'm in the 10th grade at a preppy white school. Not my choice. If you had known me in first grade, you'd say that I had a troubled past. I am not bad. I was never bad. Let's start from the beginning. I was born at the Brooklyn Hospital on May 30th, 2005. My real mom was there for all the big baby moments, but she was nowhere to be found when I started to get older. No, she did not leave me on some random doorstep. She sent me to live with my grandmother. She stopped calling to check up on me. She stopped coming to visit me. I was hurt. Fast forward to the middle of first grade when all hell broke loose. And when I say hell, I mean hell. One day, I got in trouble for something. I don't remember what. My mom lashed out and I had to go to school with a black eye. I thought my eye would hurt like crazy. It didn't, but I couldn't open it, and when I did, the lights were too bright. I couldn't see. I had been hit before, but never that hard. If my mom had kept me home and called in and said I was sick, the school wouldn't have called child services. I was shut up in a room with someone who kept asking me questions. I did what my mom told me and said I slipped in the bathtub and hit my head. For the first time, I lied to protect my mom. I don't remember how they made me spill, but they did, and I don't want to remember what happened after.
Hi, I'm Jordan Gospore, and I'm a second-year Girls Right Now mentor. My mentee trusts her instincts and is open to alternatives to the classic lorem ipsum. This is all to say that we're a great match. She's also one of the funniest people I know. So now I present to you Amy Bradu performing a short comedy routine.
Hi, my name is Amy Bradu. I wrote the sketch you're about to watch, and it's basically about how I was feeling the night that I wrote it. I was procrastinating a really important assignment for school, and I was in that kind of cycle of needing to not be procrastinating, but also like being physically unable to stop myself. And I wanted to funnel that feeling into something and do something, so I wrote this sketch, and I hope you enjoy it.
I have to jump. I know that. I have to jump off the tower at some point. I've been told that. That's my job. I know that. And every minute that I don't do that, it gets a little bit taller. They add another little layer of bricks at the bottom. So I just need to jump, and I need to do it now. And I just need to... Nope. Actually, maybe I'm gonna wait just a bit. Maybe I just need to take my mind off it for a second. Maybe I just need some nice, good, simple escapism. The allowable amount of human and meat products is 17%? Whose fault is this? Ah, Reagan. Yeah, that tracks. I should stop doing this. Okay, that was just an outlier, right? Like, I mean, there's gotta be something fun and good, right? Okay, I know what you're thinking. What happens if I just don't jump? And the answer is I don't know. But it's gotta be bad, right? I mean, why else would all these other people be jumping? I mean, just look at that. Someone else just went. Why would they do that if there wasn't something really terrible going to happen to us if we didn't? So obviously, I should just jump. Obviously, I should just know. The phone just hit the ground? Oh my god. Okay, I can do this. Yeah, I can do this. I know I can. I can definitely do this. All I have to do is just... No, I can't.
My name is Anna J.P. Chook, and I am the writing mentor for Isabel Sanderson. In my second year of getting to know and work with Isabel, I've thoroughly enjoyed experiencing the creative expansion, the new depths of descriptiveness, and the blossoming playfulness of Isabel's writing. Particularly one of my absolute favorite projects to watch Isabel in her experimental element is the following series of cut and shuffle poems repeating the lines like sonorous flicks to the brain. In summer, I picked 2 dandelions, the girl you liked till it dropped unceremoniously.
This is Taraxacum, Case Study, a controlled experiment into the nature of memory, romance, and dandelions. Control. In summer, I picked 2 dandelions, handing you one, tucking the hair behind my ear, listening when you told me about the girl you liked. You blew on yours, seeds scattering, and the stem lay limp in your hands till it dropped unceremoniously into a puddle. X equals expectation. Most specifically, in summer, I picked 2 dandelions, handing you one, tucking the hair behind my ear. The Greek goddess of marriage and womanhood listens when you tell me numerous insights into the expectations of the girl. You liked an ideal wife and woman in this culture. You blew on yours, and we see that she should gain power from seeds scattering her beauty. Be obedient to the stem lay limp in your hands till it drops unceremoniously. X equals fulfillment. In summer, I picked 2 dandelions, handing you one, and in consequence enter between skin and skin, tucking the hair behind my ear and listening when you told me about the girl you liked. Do not meet each other and become contracted. You blew on yours, seeds scattering. This, they say, nature is done. And the stem lay limp in your hands, finding the way between membrane and membrane, till it dropped to penetrate into the interior, unceremonious into a puddle. The remainder, superfluous. A puddle in summer, unceremonious. 2 dandelions, the girl, the stem, you, scattering. I dropped into a puddle in summer, the hair behind my ear laying limp in your hands. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Selena Beaumont. I'm a mentor with Girls Right Now. My mentee's name is Megnan Lin. This session, we worked on different writing prompts to build confidence, as well as working through the very challenging process of applying to college.
Hello everyone, my name is Megnan Lin. I am a first-year mentee with Girls Right Now. 2020 has been a huge year for all of us. The loss of school time or work time, the lack of social connection, and the abuses toward the larger vulnerable communities have deprived so many of us of a sense of hope and power. Selena and I collaborate on this poem zine to portray our personal experience during this tumultuous year. Hope you enjoy this piece, Me in the Eyes of 2020.
The title of my poem is This is How to Wear a Mask in 2020. I go to the deli at 6 a.m. while the sun debates whether it will rise to find 2 men ahead of me where there should be none in the crevices of the early morning. In the turn of the giant fabric of our collective story, these men would mean little to me, but they open the thin lines of their mouths, and out comes an accent so Frankensteined. Beneath the patchwork of racism is the accent of the echelons of my family. It is the accent that belongs to the 5 men that work behind the counter, men that have watched me grow up over the decade, chittering away in Spanish. It is an accent in the mouths of these men that sounds like a nasally secret, not meant to be heard. The skittering laughter that follows turns my hands to stone, and I will the rage inside me to be silent. Thank you.
I'm not a perfect student who can sit still in front of the never-tired computer for 24/7 and be on top of every assignment. I'm not a perfect older sister who has endless patience to cook every meal with different recipes for my also vulnerable little sister by myself at home. I'm also just not a perfect human being who has growth mindsets embedded in their body and can be optimistic whenever a challenge pops up. I'm weak. I try to be strong, act strong, and tell myself that I am strong, but I am weak. It's okay. It's okay. It is not okay, baby. It's okay to be not okay. It's okay to have missing assignments as far as you catch up with them. It's okay to lose your patience with your siblings sometimes as far as you give yourself a little more patience and love. It's okay to be imperfect as far as you're still looking forward to tomorrow, to the beautiful, hopeful things that will happen tomorrow, to the beautiful, better self that you will become tomorrow. Don't worry. You're on time. You're on track. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your wonderful piece. I think it's something that we all needed to see during this tough time and an ultimately crazy year. We all need a little more hope in our lives.
Yes, I completely agree. It is okay not to be okay sometimes. But let's all remember that there are times to mute yourself and hold space for the gravity of the past year and the work we all still have ahead. We'd like to invite all of you to join us for a moment of silence to honor the victims of racial injustice in this country and the COVID-19 pandemic.
Thank you. There are also times to get loud when you're speaking up to demand change or showing gratitude. Please join us in thanking all of our essential workers and all our fierce advocates for justice who continue to show up for their communities. To keep the love going, let's hear it for tonight's performers. Wherever you are, give them a round of applause. What incredible work.
We also want to thank you, our generous agent of change partners, our Girls Right Now Circle, our dedicated board of directors and staff, our talented mentors and mentees, and all of you who joined us tonight.
If you'd like to support more amazing work like this, you can make a donation at girlsrightnow.org/give or join the circle at girlsrightnow.org/circle.
And if you want more Girls Right Now in your life, you can apply to be a Girls Right Now mentee or mentor by visiting girlsrightnow.org/enroll or join us again soon at our Friday Night Salon series, Write with Audible editor Abby West and author Rebecca Carroll, which is next week at 6 p.m. And our next Girls Right Now Live is our special anthology launch party episode. You can join us to celebrate on Tuesday, May 18th with Abby DeRay, author of The Girl with the Louding Voice. And more upcoming events are always live on our website, girlsrightnow.org.
Thank you once again to our performer pairs for sharing your stories and letting us behind the scenes of the process creating them.
Good night, take care, and we hope to see you again soon.